Allow me to tell you about a dream that I have, a recurring one as a retro computer collector. And perhaps it's one that you've had too, if you're into this hobby, where in your dream you're just going around looking for cool things in the area, maybe looking at thrift stores or what have you, and you come across a forgotten corner or perhaps even a whole building full of amazing, rare, old hardware, and computers and software and games and all sorts of things ready to be taken home and done with as you please for a good price, and then you wake up and you're inevitably disappointed that it's not real. Well, what if I told you that that place exists? I've been there. Let's get right to it. I am so excited to show this place off on LGR. This is the one and only Computer Reset. Now, before we go too much further here, I do want to provide a bit of context, a little bit of backstory of how I discovered this place, how I got in, how I got there. There's a whole lot of things to go into here before we actually get to the warehouse. So if you do want to skip just to the showing off of the place itself, you can go to this time code right here in the video. But I do encourage you to listen to what I'm about to say, because I'm about to say it and I think it's interesting. It really all started last year, and at this point last year is 2018, so it was around September or something, and I got an email. That was the mic. It was going so well too. So yeah, I got an email from David Murray, also known as the 8-Bit Guy here on YouTube, and he just sent me an email letting me know about this place over in Dallas, Texas called Computer Reset. And he attached some pictures and gave a brief description of it being packed to the brim full of old computers and tech and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Thanks for letting me know. It's always nice to hear from David, and cool to hear about places like this that exist. And the few months passed, though I wasn't going to go right then because I had stuff going on. And once I posted my video on the IBM PC 5140 convertible, another person got in contact with me that was also a YouTuber. His name was Steven, and he does the channel Texas Nerd House on YouTube. And he got in touch and said, hey, there's this place called Computer Reset. Don't know if you've heard of it, but they have a lot of stuff for your PC convertible that you just got and unboxed on your channel. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, is there anything individually that you're looking for? Maybe something that's hard to find? I'm like, okay. There's a whole bunch of things for this that I've never once seen show up for sale. And he emails me back like a day later with this photo and saying, here you go. He's like, it's just all there. And they had way more of this stuff too at Computer Reset. I'm like, oh, okay, so this place is more legit than I thought. But at the time, I still couldn't make my way out there, so I just said, thank you, would you be willing to get that stuff and send it my way? I'll pay for it, and I'll pay for shipping too, and so we did. And it ended up being like $100 altogether. It was nothing considering, the rarity of the stuff and the value of it, if it were to go for sale. So already I was really impressed, but I was happy just to have some stuff for the convertible because I plan on doing that video at some point, and I'll get to show all these cool things. Well, another month or something passes, and then I hear from Rob, who runs the channel Obsolete Geek on YouTube. So yeah, another Texas YouTuber getting in touch about Computer Reset. He's like, have you heard of it? Here's some pictures. And I'm like, yes, I have. I heard of it from David and Texas Nerd House and like all these other people. In fact, a few viewers from the Dallas area got in touch telling me about it too. But Rob mentioned the owner was in really bad shape and the place was deteriorating rapidly, and maybe the place might be shutting down, so perhaps you should think about going there. I'm like, oh, yeah, wow. I would, except that at the moment I was injured myself and had an ankle injury where I couldn't walk. I hadn't been able to stand at all, really, normally, for about a week. And then a bit more time passed, and then Steven from Texas Nerd House got in touch again and said, dude, the place is not only closing down soon, but it's closing this Saturday. And this was Wednesday morning when I got this email from him. And I'm like, oh no. well, I don't know what to do because I'm still kind of injured here. I'd recovered a bit more, but then he's just like, it sounds like they're not only going to close the place down, but it's going to be bulldozed. All the stuff inside of it too, all the rare computers and anything that may happen to be in there, just sold for scrap. Ah, man, I look down at my ankle, I look at the calendar, I think about it. I go get some coffee and wait around the afternoon, and by around 6 p.m. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's see what kind of flights there are. So I go online, look at the flights from here to Dallas, and there's one available. There's a couple seats left. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I get the ticket, pack a very quick bag, and then haul it over to the airport. And at this point, it was 6:45 when I had gotten the tickets, and I think it was in the air by 7:45. So I just completely hauled it over to Dallas when I heard that this place is going to be bulldozed in 3 days. 3 days, like what in the world? I knew this is a once in a lifetime potentially opportunity to see a kind of place like this, somewhere that I'd only seen in my dreams and a few photos through email. Sure, I was injured, but I just got an ankle brace and said, screw it, let's make this happen. And so yeah, I made it happen and I got to Dallas. And by the time I got there, well, it was nighttime. So I just grabbed a hotel, got into my room, saw that it was an okay room, and yeah, that's fine, whatever. Time to plop into bed, grab some sleep, and just see if I can get over there in the morning. Hi. So here is the nature of the situation this morning. Unpredictable. It doesn't exactly have hours. Yeah, there's just a guy, apparently he kind of lives there. He just kind of opens the door whenever he wakes up or something, so that's interesting. I'm also absolutely not sure what I'm gonna do about getting any stuff home. I mean, U-Haul or, well, I mean, that's an option. It's not a cheap one. There's also shipping stuff out. We'll see what happens next. Probably just grab an Uber and head on over there. And that is precisely what I did. Thankfully, a pretty quick trip over from my hotel, and turns out Computer Reset's actually a little bit closer to Garland, Texas than Dallas. It's northeast of the main city center by a good ways. But yeah, short trek for me, and here was my first glance of Computer Reset. An unassuming building in an unassuming part of town, with a delightfully retro handmade looking sign and another handmade sign saying closed. But yeah, just looking in through the windows here, you can get just a glimpse of the retro awesomeness that awaits inside. Computers and monitors and tech just stacked everywhere, but it's closed and there was no one here to let anyone in. Not only that, but I soon received word that no one would be let in, maybe ever again. So close, but still so far. So yeah, in retrospect, here's where things got a little silly. Now, I went down there under the guise of there being someone there to let people in. And, well, apparently there was at one point. But somewhere in the process, things got a bit misconstrued. While all these people were emailing me about this place, the internet was starting to catch on that it existed, and there were a few reasons for that. I mean, really, you just can't keep a secret about this kind of computer warehouse a secret for very long, and especially when people start posting pictures and videos and stuff. And in particular, there was one video, really a live stream that went up by a YouTuber, TXDJ. His name is Justin. He's a cool guy. He's got a cool channel with a bunch of cool tech, and apparently he had some cool permission to film there and post it online. And then, well, you can kind of guess what happened. People started showing up to the place at random, and the video was spreading, and it was on Facebook and Reddit and Twitter and all sorts of places, and the family of Richard, the guy that ran Computer Reset for so many years and was in such bad health now, they saw all this, and then they saw all these people just like showing up out front there, and they're just like, no, especially since the guy that was there letting everyone in kind of maybe wasn't supposed to be doing that. Things just got really weird, and I had no idea any of this was going on when I got there. And then when I did get there, that first morning, there were a bunch of people already waiting outside. Some were LGR fans, some were just people that wanted to get in and see the cool place. And when word starts spreading like this, you can't really shut it down, but they shut it down. At this point, what am I gonna do? I'm already there in Dallas, Texas, so I just start hanging out with folks, man. I mean, Steven was there, he had his vehicle, and there were a bunch of other people that watched my show, or we just all had similar interests, so we just started wandering nerdy, computery places around Dallas. And I didn't record everywhere we went, but the first location was the Goodwill Computer Works of Dallas. Nope. This is not a thrift. This is just a place I went, and honestly, as much as I wanted to visit one of these, it was pretty disappointing, I've got to say. Mostly, it was just the standard selection of Dells and refurbished stuff from the late 2000s that Goodwill does at almost every location. They just happen to have a lot more of it. They did have a selection of other computery and game technology related things. It is at least a store dedicated to that, which is more than a lot of Goodwills. But beyond a very small selection of games and controllers and computer peripherals that were almost interesting, there really wasn't anything to see here. Most amusing thing was this Sega Genesis MLB baseball cart with a very classy label, but otherwise it's just bins full of stuff electronically that nobody wants. But yeah, like I said, I had a lot of fun hanging out with all the folks that were along for the ride here. We went to a Micro Center, I'd never been to one of those before, along with Fry's Electronics, which confused the crap out of me with its odd decor. I guess these are all themed stores. Yeah, we just don't have anything like this around me. Also went to Dallas Makerspace. The place was absolutely awesome. I wish I'd gotten footage anywhere here, but I wasn't really planning on making a video. Eventually, a bunch of us ended up back at Steven's house. Him and his wife, Stacy, are very cool people and very inviting, and they do indeed have a Texas nerd house filled with all sorts of nerdy things like this Russian Electronica DVK3, PDP-11 compatible clone personal computer type system. And yes, that is running the original Tetris that was made for the Electronica 60. Alexei Pajanov's original vision or whatever, man. Like, this is so cool to play this on something that is appropriate and compatible with the original hardware, and man, it's a lot tougher than subsequent versions, in my experience anyway. This was just a challenging game. And you know what? I was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so I decided to stop by and visit some folks that I know around there, including 8-Bit guy David, and checked out the area that he films and everything. And we didn't film anything together, although I did record this little quick snippet of moving around his crap. There you go, fixed it. And big thanks to Justin and his local area connections. He let me tag along to this exceptional private arcade owned by a guy, Dr. Vance, who just, holy crap. It was an absolute pop culture geeky paradise. So it's like 5,000 square feet. It's absolutely amazing, the selection stuff here. And yes, that was a Polybius machine that you saw there. In fact, if you go on Wikipedia, the Polybius machine that you'll see pictured, that was his. He made it. It runs the Rogue Synapse version and everything. Like, it's, yeah. Just an exceptional place. So thank you to everyone involved for letting me hang out over the next few days there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area while I was waiting, hoping for any word on Computer Reset. And then, finally, after all the craziness and uncertainty and honestly a lot of fun over the past several days, we finally got word that Computer Reset was opening back up, kind of. A lot of the public hype was scaled back and that streamed video was taken down. Justin talked to the family and really did a fantastic job of just making sure everyone was on the same page and organizing a small group of people, including me, thankfully, to get into Computer Reset and go and explore and really have unprecedented access for an afternoon. And so let's finally dive into Computer Reset. Welcome, everyone, to Computer Reset. As you may surmise from the state of things, this has not been open to the public kind of business in many years. Although back in the day, it was a used computer store, repair shop. They did software and hardware and wholesale and who knows what else. Just all kinds of computer-related things. Now, there is a warehouse as well, but I'm just going to show the front section of the store here first. Because honestly, there's still a lot of fascinating stuff to see, even just up here. Though for the most part, this is somewhat newer than what you'll find out in the warehouse. A lot of stuff from the 90s, early 2000s. But it is still like stepping into a kind of time capsule for an old computer repair shop. Like this area in the corner that appears to have been kind of a software store at one point, filled with shelves of new old stock applications and software and games, screensaver packs, word processing and office packs. I mean, just a ton of stuff. Most of it still sealed right here. As you'll be seeing, there are lots of loosely organized piles of things. Maybe not organized, but just kind of jumbled together by type in a way. Lots of rooms have kind of a specific theme going on, like this laptop room in the back here. I mean, it's more than just laptops, but that's mostly what it is what I mean. Just tons of portables from most every company you can imagine. Lots from Toshiba, but largely from Compaq, as you might imagine being in Texas. And just because they were popular as balls. I found this whiteboard particularly poignant. Oh man. And then yeah, in this room behind that, we ended up calling it the drive room, being that it is mostly filled with drives of all kinds. Floppy drives, optical drives, hard drives, all kinds of storage really. Mostly of the internal variety. And we've just begun to see this place. Oh my goodness, so many hallways and weird little rooms to check out. Not going to show absolutely everything, but I've got to show you certain places like this here. As far as we could tell, this hallway was filled with repair orders that were just never picked up. Stacks of desktops, keyboards, and monitors that were apparently fixed, but the customer just never came and got them. Or they were parted out and left for who knows what, and then all just kind of stacked here. And yeah, tons of stuff from the 90s in this hallway. Little box of new old stock IBM game control adapters over here too. I mean, yeah, it's just a free-for-all. You never know what you'll find in any room. And on the other side of that hallway is this room here. It's kind of the main repair area, lab kind of setup. Just mountains of partially completed projects and displays and drives and cords and screws and mounting things and just a little bit of everything. You can tell there was a ton of work that happened in this room back in the day. I was also particularly interested by these stacks of disk drive holders filled with tons of drivers and software and who knows what, all for restoring specific machines. And then back here is sort of the main parts room, at least for the front part of the store here. And again, you could tell this was very meticulously organized at one point, but has long since fallen into dishevelment. Of course, this has been picked through by a lot of people over who knows what amount of time in the past when people were just being let in at random. But yeah, there's still a ton that is here and is somewhat stuck together by type. This is definitely the room to come to if you're looking for expansion cards, add-on cards, and upgrades and things like that. A lot of it new old stock. This is where a lot of that PC convertible stuff that I ended up receiving came from. It's all stuck here. This whole shelf is just convertible stuff. And yeah, just a whole lot more in the back here. I spent a long time exploring this room. Later on, looking for hard-to-find sound cards and video cards and add-ons. And that's the majority of the downstairs front part of the store, but if you go upstairs here, past this delightful-looking IBM All-in-One, you'll get to the second floor of the front of the building. Again, we haven't even gotten to the warehouse. You can see a few of the guys down there, as Justin and Rob and a few other dudes. This was the group of us that got let in that day. But yeah, upstairs were a selection of interesting rooms, like this one here everybody kind of referred to as the museum, which at one point were items Richard really wanted to hold on to. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting, different kind of stuff up here. A lot of AV equipment, rack mount and server stuff. In fact, there was a server still up and running here in the back corner. Really not sure what it was doing. The website was long since gone. This area here actually almost looked like a recording studio. It was an interesting setup. And yeah, going through to the other side here, and you'll see a lot more AV stuff for all kinds of formats. I mean, just a ton of things. Mostly film and tape related. Boxes and boxes of media and VHS and data and film reels and who knows what. A highly water damaged copy of Ultimate Doom and yeah. And of course, just a smattering of personal computers, mostly from the 90s. Everything is really just kind of stuck wherever it would fit. Though again, you find groups of things every so often, like this back corner here full of Trinitrons and broadcast television and security monitors. Oh yeah, good stuff. And kind of behind here was another room filled with a lot of stuff from the 80s and even late 70s. A whole ton of terminals, especially. I wish I'd got more footage of this room. I thought that I did, but I guess I didn't. I will be revisiting some of this later. I'm just kind of doing a quick overview here. Like this other back room that was filled with a whole bunch of fascinating stuff, honestly. Really is one of those free-for-all rooms just filled with absolutely everything. Mostly desktop computer related from the 90s, but also into the 80s, and some terminals and word processors as well. Even a couple of cash registers and stacks of brand new keyboards. Boxes of floppy disks, and hey, even on top of here, I found eMachine's E1 accessories set. I did not have the mouse for mine, so yeah, I'm gonna pick that up really quick. But yeah, man, I was drawn to a lot of stuff in this room. I don't know, it's just a lot of things from the era that I'm interested in. A bunch of Acers and Compaqs and whatever these cat machines are. There's a lot of stuff in here. Scooting on through to one of the other back rooms, and yeah, man, just more and more and more stuff. The more I look through this footage, the more I realize I didn't see a lot of it when I was there in person. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely dense with stuff, and unfortunately not every room is well lit or lit at all. Highly recommend bringing a flashlight. But yeah, all of these upstairs rooms are just an absolute free-for-all. Like, there really doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to any of this. Again, I don't doubt there was at one point, but yeah, as it is now, you could find just about anything in any room, often half a dozen or more of the exact same item just piled all together. But yeah, that's all I'm going to show right now of the front area of Computer Reset. Now let's go back downstairs and head through this back door and into the warehouse. Oh yes, this is 38,000 square feet of computer goodness and trash, but a lot of computers. Really just a phenomenal amount of technology stacked on top of each other with who knows what stacked in between it. And despite this area being not the most protected from all the elements and of course extremely hot, there's no air conditioning in this entire building, but especially not out here. Yeah, this is just a maze of insanity, a technological paradise. This is the kind of thing that I was dreaming of in all my dreams for who knows how many years now. You just walk into a place like this and you don't know where to start. Every single inch of this place is packed with something interesting, whether it be a keyboard or a monitor or a desktop or some weird little sealed piece of software or documentation or an electronic tidbit or an add-on. Like, who knows, man? I have found things in here that I have never even heard of course, but also things that I have heard of and assumed that were extremely rare because they've never once shown up on eBay or anywhere like that I've looked. And yeah, all of a sudden there were like 100 of them on a pallet. And this is, again, I'm just down here on the floor. This is eye level that we're looking at. Once you start digging deep or vertically or, even underneath stuff, you will start uncovering things, peeling back the layers, the years, the decades, and finding stuff that is just unthinkable. The fact that it's been sitting here just untouched forever. I mean, these stacks of things that you're seeing, these are often pallets, and there's like 4 pallets deep underneath each of these shelves, and the shelves go up 3 levels. And then again, in between those pallets, there's often stuff too, not to mention just the piles of things that are haphazardly scattered all over the place. So even though this has been picked through for months now, in a way, it looks like it hasn't been touched. I mean, yeah, there's a ton of the things that were on the surface that were really interesting. People have snapped those up long ago, but the things that are still here are positively mind-blowing. Even if it's not the most sought after or valuable thing, there's just so much of it in one spot that it is... I don't know, man. I get speechless even just watching this. When you're there, it is absolutely insane. It's really hard to get the scale of this. It's really hard to get how cramped it really is too, because I was using a wide angle lens on my phone camera here. I wish I'd brought some better equipment, but like I said earlier, I came down here in such a rush that I didn't bring any of my bigger camera equipment. Honestly, I thought it'd be too bulky, and I didn't yet have a gimbal. This is before E3. So yeah, sorry about some of the shaky, ridiculous footage here that hopefully isn't making anyone sick, but it's just so amazing. I'm doing my best, man, because it's an absolute hazard walking through here in many more ways than one. I saw many of these piles fall over. Nobody got hurt, thankfully, but you gotta be careful. Use common sense. Preferably bring a mask. Absolutely bring some gloves and some things to wash yourself off with, because a lot of this is just covered in gunk and rat pee and turds and all sorts of nastiness. Like it's not a clean place, but if you're into this kind of thing, it is still a paradise. And the further back you go and the deeper you get, the older and more obscure things become. Like in the back here, I start running into some really serious hardware. Big rack-mounted networking, mainframe type stuff, and like who knows what else, man. Ended up finding some things from late 60s to definitely mid 70s. Again, though, just so much of it is piled up and really deeply hidden that it's gonna take a lot to get to it, but you're absolutely rewarded for persistence and getting your hands dirty and your whole body dirty. Man, you're gonna get absolutely nasty going through this whole place. I know I did. Not to mention sweating my balls off. Went through like 10 bottles of water, and I still needed more than that, man. Do not get dehydrated. But yeah, I could wander through this warehouse all day. I mean, I pretty much did. There was stuff in here that you wouldn't even think you'd ever find. Apparently what happened was that at one point they were purchasing all sorts of pallets of businesses that, had gone out of business, computer businesses, or stuff that didn't sell, or things that were no longer in use. I found pallets full of computers from like UPS and several banks and various institutions. A lot of them still with hard drives in them, so, you never know what you'll find on some of these things. And of course, there was an absolute ton of stuff from IBM in here. A bunch of it being new old stock. And then a bunch of these things, it is labeled as one thing, or the box says one thing, but it's not that inside. You really have to dig deep and dig into stuff, open things up to see what it actually is. Like Justin here, climbing Mount Printer, as we called it, going into these boxes and opening them up to find brand new old stock PC Juniors still in the box. Yeah, there was a ton of PC Junior stuff in here. Apparently, they kind of bet on that back in the day, and well, that did not pan out, seeing it was one of IBM's biggest failures. But, if you're into PC Junior stuff, there's a ton of it here, and just in general, IBM stuff from the 80s of an unbelievable variety. Many of these boxes are full of unsold stock of software and applications, and even some games, as I discovered once I climbed up to the top of one of these shelving units here, and oh yeah, great view. Look at all of that IBM blue out all over the place. Oh my goodness. And again, this is hardly getting the scale of things because I'm, 25, 30 feet up or something, and it just keeps going. This place is insane and filled with a ton of printers, but a lot of other things too. Found several boxes of new old stock software for retailers like Best Buy and such. Unsold games like Gunmetal here and some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. And just, the more you look, the more you find. And yeah, it extends outside as well. Though, of course, baking out here in the Texas heat and weather, for the most part, this is not going to be worth anything at all. It's just baked to death out here for who knows how long. But yeah, man, like even just out here, if all this stuff were in one spot anywhere else, it would be absolutely shocking. But you get here and then you see everything that's actually inside and everywhere, and it's just like, oh, well, you can just safely ignore all this. Who cares? But yeah, there's just an unimaginable amount of technology, even just hanging around outside in the open air here, along with a ton of signage and boxes and other things that I don't even know. But yeah, let's waltz on back inside here, even though I think it's hotter inside than it is outside. But yeah, Rob was actually filming with his camcorder at the same time I was going around recording with my phone, and he got some footage of me just looking around in awe, taking everything in, being absolutely amazed and seriously not knowing where to look, but just looking at everything. In fact, we were all together for a good part of this before we all split up, like the footage you were seeing earlier, and just kind of taking the tour and going through and checking out every room briefly, talking about the things they had gotten in the past and what you might be able to find in certain rooms today. Like, I was curious about all these Viz 2000 boxes here. There were no Viz 2000 machines, but each of them were full of new old stock stuff. Found boxes and boxes of RAM boards and expansions and micro-channel architecture things. They have an absolute ton of IBM PS2 related stuff in this entire facility. Again, though, I was super enamored by the portables and laptop room here. I could have easily picked up 20 of these things and taken them home just to tinker with for years. Love old laptops. Oh yeah, in that one room earlier that I wish I had gotten more footage, that I swear that I recorded, and I don't know what happened to the footage, but yeah, it's got a lot of terminals and whatnot. This is one of the most densely packed rooms, but it ended up having some of the most fascinating finds of the entire trip. We'll come back to that. Oh, in that other room where I found the E-Machines accessories. Check it out, there was also a Hot Wheels computer or two lying around. Somebody else picked that up. Yeah, you could seriously find everything in here. I mean, there was like a brand new old stock IBM PS1 just hanging out over there. I thought maybe it was full of something else, but no, PS1. And back on out into the warehouse there, and this row in particular was one of my favorites, just seeing how full it was of new old stock IBM software and really programs of all kinds that were IBM PC compatible, mostly from the 80s. For instance, these stacks of IBM TopView that I'd actually ordered a copy off eBay just like the week prior, and here there were tons of them. I was also shocked at the sheer mountains of new old stock IBM disk drives, of all capacities too. Everything from the original IBM 5150 drives up through the PC Junior and the PS2 era. Even found stacks of newspapers and magazines from back in the day, like this Compute issue from 1984. 1984. Or like these pallets where you just peel back a bit of plastic and you'll see that it is a complete army of computers, all the same type of computers, a bunch of these Zenith Data Systems laptops. Maybe none of them work, maybe all the screens are messed up like this one, or who knows what. Really, you just gotta dig through here and see what you can find. And man, I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys there, even though I was sweating to no end. That was not gonna stop me. But yeah, back up in that upstairs room that was so densely packed with things, Rob found this. It was a box labeled Sierra Online, 1990. Apparently Robert Fisher sent in one of their IBM PC Juniors. Like a development station, maybe? Who knows? Computer Reset had it and they had a repair order, so I'm taking that home. Back on into the warehouse, and the more that I looked, the more I found so many clone computers and compacts and HPs and things that, I would take like any one of these. I would be so excited to find even one of these in so many other circumstances. But when you get here, it's just like it all blends together and you're like, oh, of course that's here. Of course there's 100 of them. Even things like Compact Desk Pros, like the first compact desktops. I mean, yeah, just tons of them. And a bit later on in the day, I was joined by Alex. He was one of the guys I was hanging out with on the first day I was here, and just started getting on ladders and diving into things. And he pulled down this box here. He was like, what is Hercules? I'm like, oh my goodness, really? Yeah, it was filled with Hercules cards and all sorts of pretty obscure video hardware from the 80s. Oh, he also got some more overview footage from the top here of that ladder he was on, so thank you very much, Alex. Again, the view is spectacular and almost unbelievable. Yeah, I don't even know how long we were here. Maybe 8-9 hours. We were definitely there until it was starting to approach dusk. Those overhead hanging lights don't do much, especially for some of these back rows here just filled with things, especially underneath the shelves and everything. So yeah, it's just a good idea to really bring a head-mounted light. I had one of those. Turned out I needed a more powerful one, so I just stuck to the handheld. But yeah, dude, way too much to explore. I honestly feel like I didn't see half of it. Sorry if the footage looks completely scattered. I mean, my mind was just racing this entire trip. I didn't know what to look at. Oh man, what an exciting thing though. And again, I'm glad Alex joined because he just started opening up everything, man. He's like, hey, these doors slide open, right? I'm like, I don't know, let's try them. And check it out. All of these loading bay, like garage door things opened up as well. They were seriously disgusting, bringing down a bunch of nasty dirt and grime on everyone. But you know what? It not only brought in way more light, but it revealed so many more goodies hanging out. I mean, who knows when the last time some of this stuff was seen, some of these IBMs and Macs, Tandys, and interesting clone machines and like one-offs and weird late 70s, early 80s stuff. And not to mention keyboards. Holy crap, I haven't mentioned the keyboards yet. There were hundreds and hundreds of IBM Model M's and F's and everything in this whole building. Justin even found this box of unused, like new old stock 3M Scotch 701 tape, reel-to-reels like used for mainframes and whatnot. This is so cool.
That's different than what I thought was going to be. Nice.
This stuff is amazing. Tandy TRS-80s. I mean, yeah, the deeper you look, the more you find. But the only thing I didn't run across personally were like Amigas and Commodore stuff. A lot of that had been taken already. But in subsequent days, I heard from other people that they found a lot of Commodore stuff. Even found these boxes and boxes of ICs of who knows what kind, different controller chips and all sorts of things. But yeah, at this point, it was getting pretty late in the day and everyone was dead tired and completely gross. So we decided to close up shop, so to speak. The place is already technically closed, but you know what I mean. And yeah, this is the pile of things that I decided to take home. And actually, it didn't take a whole lot. I was mostly just here to have the experience, but there were a few items that seemed really useful to LGR in the future. And really the only question left was how to get them home. Yeah, I mean, I got a one-way ticket here. I just took everything back to the hotel and loaded it up in my little front room area and went to bed. Woke up the next morning and got an Uber to the closest shipping place that was open, which just happened to be FedEx. That works. I just wanted to make sure that they packed up everything as nicely and protectively as possible, especially that PC Junior. Who knows what's on there? And yeah, that was it. Went back to the hotel, grabbed my luggage, hopped back into my ride sharing thing and off to the Dallas airport. And yeah, man, all the stuff was en route with the shipping company. I was on the plane myself and well on my way back home and really immediately started thinking about what in the world I was going to do for this video. Obviously, I've got a ton of footage and yet at the same time, I still feel like I didn't show enough of it. Whatever, man. It was a whirlwind of a trip. And a couple days later, my packages showed up. So, you know what? Let's unbox them, see what I got. Okay, been looking forward to this. So the very first one here is, well, it was just shipped in the box that it was originally packaged in from the factory. Only briefly kind of opened it up when I was there, but yeah, check it out. Documentation here, and yeah, as far as I know, there we go, yeah, oh man, it actually comes with the cable and everything, so you got the edge connector here and a little front panel to go on there, and yeah, if you remember when I did my IBM PS2 Model 30, I was looking for the proper hard drive. It is a new old stock Type 33 30 meg drive that if I don't use it in that computer, PS2, I'll definitely use it in another one, but I think this is exactly what I was looking for. Wow. Okay, we got a box full of randomness here. Ah yes, thought this was an interesting thing to come across. This is Lemmings for the Mac, but this is the Junior Edition. 12 challenging levels. There was a whole box of these brand new Lemmings demo discs, Junior Edition. Yeah, I'd never heard of Junior Edition, so neat. Let's see, right here we've got a Sound Blaster card. This is a CT2940 Sound Blaster 16, a later one, 1995. This was a new old stock, a little bit dirty, but yeah, it was a new old stock topping, I don't know, the top cover, the back part that actually goes on the PC convertible. The one I got was a little bit scuffed, scratched, but this one, other than being dirty, was brand new. Oh yeah, got some lovely video cards here. This right here is that Hercules card that you saw that I found in the box. Found it interesting because of this full-length extra bit of PCB here. It's not cut off, but it still is made to fit into like a full-length 8-bit ISA bus. And here's a Hercules card that's a little bit older, 1988 one, and it is a full-length, but you know, it actually takes up the entire card. Ah, that's awesome. And then this is one I'd never had before, never come across one. This is a Video 7 board. It got a little bit beat up when it was crammed in that box there, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it still works because I'm curious. Never used one, but I remember seeing it in a bunch of like DOS setup programs and manuals and stuff back in the day. This is like 1988 or 89. Yeah, this is the accessories here. Well, the ones that I needed for the eMachine's E1 computer that I've already covered, but yeah, there's the original mouse. And here is the crazy looking power cord. And then here is the cable, the PS2 pass-through for the keyboard. Dude, this is so cool to have. And I mean, the fact that this computer was pulled from the market and they had like multiples of these there, it's just insane. Oh, also got one of these. This is extremely useful as a PC Junior user. This converts PC Junior output to just standard CGA. So you can use any CGA or EGA monitor with it, any 9-pin compatible TTL. Don't actually know what's in here. Huh, this is just a power cord. I don't know where this came from. Okay, another box of random goodies here. I believe this one is mostly gonna be software. So I found like a whole box filled with brand new unsold copies of McAfee Virus Scan. I don't know. I mean, this is like a slightly later version, but I've always kind of wanted this box. It's Virus Scan, whatever, I wanted it. Got something here for early IBM computers. This is Zill, a text adventure game. I'd never heard of it, and there was an entire palette of them, new old stock, so there you go. Yes, this one should be useful. It's nothing too crazy, but yeah, IDE controller with 1 parallel and 2 serial ports, and just a book of research thing, new old stock. So I don't know, I've used these in a lot of 486s and such. Here we go, this was a fun one to have. So Microsoft Windows for Workgroups includes Windows 3.1. Did not have this at all. In fact, I think I mentioned wanting a copy in my Windows 3.1 video that I did for the upgrade of the Woodgrain 46. Yeah, hopefully you're starting to see the pattern here. I was really trying to get stuff that would be very useful for LGR, things I've already done or want to revisit or want to do in the future. Like here we go, IBM OS 2, just OS 2. Standard edition, 1.0, 1987, brand new. Oh my goodness, how cool is that? Been wanting to cover that for a long time. Here we go, is a copy of just Windows 3.1, sealed, brand new. I wish I had this when I did my video, but anyway, cool to have another copy that is all in the box. Another Windows 3, well not really, this is Windows NT Workstation version 3.5, but it's, you know, from that era. Something else I've always wanted to cover or mess around with. Never have been able to, never come across a copy before. Again, new old stock. Same with this right here. Here's OS 2 version 2.0. Still sealed. So I've got the couple of main versions of OS 2 now that I really wanted. Let's see, we got some Microsoft. This is MS-DOS version 4.01. I've always been curious about this because it was kind of a failed thing, and I've actually never used DOS 4. Everybody just says to skip it, and I'm like, well, I don't know, I want to try it for myself, see if it's really bad. And yeah, these are still sealed like everything else in this box. IBM things here, so you have the original PC guide to operations, so this will go with my IBM 5150, and here's a guide to operations for my XT. So now I finally have an operations guide for my PC, XT, and AT, and I've been lucky enough to get them all sealed. So, I mean, I'm going to be opening like all this, but yeah, no, that's just what I do because I make videos. I got to show stuff. Okay, get to the 2 larger ones now. Yeah, right here is the compact battery for this compact, and also got the power cord there. But yeah, check this thing out. Got the original compact bag, and inside here is a rather lovely looking compact SLT 286. So yeah, I mean, all things considered, it looked to be in pretty darn good shape. And the screen looked okay. I haven't tried to power it on yet or anything, but still has an overlay for WordPerfect on there. But yeah, this thing is crazy. Look at all this. What a neat machine. Much as I love the early 90s laptops they had, this is definitely more my jam these days. Really hope this survived. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. Of course, I don't really know what was wrong with this in the first place. I mean, I know what was listed, but I don't know if it was repaired. Obviously, Sierra never picked it up. But yeah, check it out. It is the Sierra PC Junior, potentially some sort of development hardware. I don't know. These I've never come across before. I mean, I've seen them in photos. I've certainly never had one in person. It's a legacy hard disk unit, which, I mean, hopefully it'll be okay. Yeah, Legacy Technologies, Lincoln, Nebraska. And yeah, everything was just kind of like stuck in here. Like even the hard disk isn't even really mounted fully. But yeah, there's like a whole bunch of add-on cards of some kind. I guess like hard disk controllers and whatnot. But the hard disk itself, that's a Tandon TM-T62. I'll put the capacity up on screen here, but I'm guessing 20 megs. And yeah, it's got this thing going off to the side here. It's like, maybe there was an actual sidecar that this went into at one point, but as it is now, it looks a little hairy. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna find when we turn this thing on. So no, I'll save that to another video because I gotta go over this and see what's. I don't know. I have no experience with this hard disk unit. Well, that's it for what I picked up on this trip to Computer Reset anyway. I could have easily taken like a whole U-Haul's worth of stuff that I wanted, but I just wanted to get some things that I could really use and have the space to store stuff right now. I don't have a lot of storage space left. So anyway, thank you very much to the family for working things out with Justin, and of course to Justin for working things out with them and making sure everybody was on the same page after all the misunderstandings and everything. I think it's really in a cool spot now that this place is opened up so that people can come in there and save some of this stuff, and it's not going to just end up in a landfill or crushed for scrap or anything like that. So that makes me really happy as somebody who cares about some of these things being preserved and making sure it's in the hands of folks that can use it. Now, speaking of which, how can you get into Computer Reset? That is one of the big questions here. Well, you can, although there's a lot of asterisks after that statement at the moment, and maybe even more so in the future. If any of this changes, I'll leave an update in the video description below and make a pinned comment and stuff. But as it is right now, the way this works is that there is a private Facebook group, Computer Reset Warehouse Liquidation. Unfortunately, it's Facebook. I'm not a big fan of the service. But anyway, this is a way to get everybody on the same page and make sure there's an understanding in terms of when it's open, how it's open, what the deal is in terms of buying things. And there's some really good photos and guides and conversation on there to make sure that you know what you're getting into going into this place. But yeah, at the moment, they're just opening it up on certain weekends, certain times of day, and there are schedules and everything on the group there, and you can get in touch with Justin and everybody rather directly that way. A few other things he mentioned that I could mention. We are selling to collectors and donating to verified museums. So yeah, if you're like me and you want to go in there and get some stuff and take home, then yeah, they will ask you to pay for it, and there's a PayPal. You can get the money to the family directly that way. But if you're a verified museum, then yeah, sure, you can just go there and get some cool pieces for the museum. Scrappers won't be able to afford our prices, but collectors will find the prices very fair, and that's absolutely true. And of course, if too many people show up, they will limit how many people can be in the building at the same time, and it's just like basic common sense stuff. Want to make sure things don't get out of hand and like people start getting in there and causing fights over certain objects that they want, they're gonna probably kick you out. But just be reasonable and make sure that you talk to the right people on that group and figure out what's going on. That's the best way to go about it right now. But if there are any other updates, like I said, I'll update below this video. But that's pretty much it. It's an amazing place, and it's a weird place, and it's a weird situation. And I don't really know how this is going to go over with the community, putting this out there publicly, which is one big reason I've sat on all this footage for about 2 months now. I went there last May, and I just had other things going on in the meantime, but also just wanting to make sure that this sat and everything was sorted out so that I can at least tell you how you can get in there. So yeah, if you do go in there, and or if you've already been to Computer Reset, leave some comments below what you found and what your experience was like, and whether or not you'd recommend it to people. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff, like I said, it's already been taken that's really cool. It's on the surface, but the deeper you go, I swear, there's really awesome things that are still being found all the time. Like just looking through that Facebook group, you can see a lot of the images, and people are digging out things that are exceptional, rare, weird items that, man, it's an amazing place. And this whole experience has been incredible. So again, much appreciation to everybody involved for working things out with me and helping make this video happen. And I hope that you enjoyed watching it. Yeah, this was quite a different kind of video than normal, but I loved going here and seeing all this and showing it to you, so I hope you enjoyed. And as always, there are new videos here every week, so stick around if you like, and thank you for watching.